So yesterday we just executed one line code. Okay, so these are all the first basic structure to run at least one line code also. We should need this. So to understand this each keyword meanings, so in the future we will come to know. So we have to concentrate now. For now, we have to concentrate only within this open brace and close brace. So whatever the lines we execute, so only that one we should understand the concepts. So one by one concepts we will go through that. Let me open that code. So this is the code I just executed. So if you want to print any output in the console, so whatever the string or whatever the character sets we want to print in the console, so we just use this system.out.println method. Okay. So inside this, within the double quote, we should put the value. So this value will be print in the terminal. So this is the output console. So if you are running the code here, if you are executing the code here, so we will see the output only within this. So as they are saying, so in the main method, we are just using the println method. So that system.out.println is the method to print the string. So we have just print the characters, right? So in the example code. So now if you want to print the numbers, so within this, if we give the number, for example, hello world, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So it just print that as a string only. So let's execute and we'll see. So to compile the code, we need to type the command javac and then the file name main.java. Okay. It's not in the file path. So that's why I have to go inside that file path. We need to use the cd command to go inside the folder. So once we go inside the desktop, I have created the folder as a Java tutor. So inside this, we need to run the command javac main.java. So for the after compilation, if I don't get any errors, so the code is successfully compiled. So now if I want to execute Java space main. So now it is printing the string, even whatever the included the values 2, 3, 4. So this is also considered as a string, these numbers. So, but if you want to print directly the numbers, so we can mention the number value. If we have to compile, then only we have to execute. So now also it is printing. So like this, we can print the numbers also directly. So what is the difference means? So when we use the numbers, so it will take only less number of bytes to print the data. Means whenever it is going to print, first it will store that data in the RAM. So then only it will print. So here we convert each character as a string. So each character will contain the 1 byte memory. So let's in the next we'll see So what is memory and how the data will be stored. So then only we will come to know. Even if you want to, yes, tell me.
ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಡಬಲ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಕಾಮ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ?
ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ?
ಈಗ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಕಾಮ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದೌದು. So when we are printing the numbers, so we not required to use the double quote. So if we use the double quote, so it become as a string. When we want to print the just only the numbers, so I can print like this. Also, if I want to do any arithmetic operations, I can do here 2 plus. Then the resulting value will be printed because this is the number. This is not a string. So you can mute. Yeah. So the total value is the 4. It is printing. So numbers can be, we can make a addition, subtraction, anything, but we can't do with the string. If you want to do with the string, so it is showing 2 2. So it means it is just adding the 2 strings. So this is the string. This is not a number. So when we use within the double quote, so it considered as a string. So it is just appending the 2 string. So but when we use the number like this without any double quote, so that is the number value. So when we make the addition, we get the addition of the 2 values. So the total value is the 4. So here instead of this, I can give addition of 2 plus 2. I can give. So this will, whatever the string I give, just it will print. It will not do anything. It just print however it is. So it just print like that. So let's see. So now after 4, it is showing addition of 2 plus 2. Okay. So without compilation, you should not execute the code. So execution means Java main. So compilation means Java C after that main.java. Java C is the command to compile the code. Yeah, Hema, you can mute the mic. Some noise is coming.
I don't have any noise here. I'm all alone.
Yeah, okay. Some noise is coming. So once we compile, then we have to execute. So whenever you execute, so it will give the same thing. But if you want to change anything, for example, in addition, I just give it as a subtraction. This is just a string. I am just for testing. So subtraction should come. So without compilation, if I execute the code, so it is giving the previous output only. So means it is not compiled to the machine code to execute. So that's why we should compile the code by using the Java C after that main.java. So after that main file name. So now it is compiled. Now if I run the Java main, so that whatever the code I have updated, so I am just added the subtraction instead of addition. So that same value it is coming. So now you should understand that. So only after compilation only we can able to execute the code. So for multiplication, we use the star. So in the future, we will see all the arithmetic operations. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, everything we will see in the future concept. For testing, we can do multiplication also. So instead of plus, I use the star. Star is the indication of the multiplication. So it is multiplying and it is giving the value. So for example, I will give you 4. So it is giving 8. So 4 2s are 8. So but below, whatever the string it is there, so that same string it is just printing. So even I have not changed as a 4. So it's just showing 2 into 2. So now I will just save to. After compilation, I have executed. So it is showing multiplication of 4 into 2. So but this is coming first 8. So after this one is coming. So as we know that program will execute line by line by line. So that's why. So the first line will be execute and it will print the result. So then it will go to the next line. Then next line it will execute this line. So the resultant will be print in the console. So as per line by line, it will execute. So we should write the code line by line. So first, which one we have to do? Next, what we have to do? So complete steps we should know about that. So first I will print now. First I will print the multiplication of 4 into 2. Then I will print the result. So just below this line, I will put this one. So now it is showing first multiplication of 4 into 2 is 8. Now again you can print any string. Thank you. Bye. So now it is printing the 3-line code, 3 lines. So first it is executing first line. So then it is executing the second line. So then it is executing the third line. So now you understand. So the code will be execute line by line by line. So first when we execute the main class, so first it will find the main method. So inside this main method, whatever the lines we are writing, so these lines will be execute line by line. So we just see and we have seen a lot of examples for printing the data also along with the numbers and multiplication values. So next concept we are going to see. So Java comments. So I will just give you idea. So what is comments? So comments is nothing but that is also just a information, but that is not the code. It will not execute anything. Even it will not compile it. So that is just for we to understand. For example, we are a team, some 2 to 3 people we are working. So here I am working on this code. So I am used to comment here. So if you want to comment anything, so first we should use the double slash. This we call it as a single line comment. So if I want to write any one single line comment, I can write it here like this. This code is to multiply 4 into 2. So like this, I just give a comment. So even if will execute the code. So the same result is coming. So the comment is not considering only. Okay. So what is the use, if you ask what is the use like this to make the comment? So for example, I only doing the code for this some project. So after some 4-5 months, again, I came back to the same project. I want to re-implement something. So that time, if I want to understand my code, so if I put some comments like this, easily I can understand. So otherwise it will be difficult to understand the program. So because when we are implementing the code, so just by thinking a logic, we will write a code. So even in future, you will understand that. So how to use this comments and all. How to use this means why should we use like that? You will get a real time scenarios. So this is the, so now you have to understand this. So the comments will never execute. So this is just a comment. So like how we do the comments to anything in the any social media or something like that. So like that, just we comment something in the code. So it will not execute, only to understand that code. So we can use these comments. We can write anything, whatever we want. So for this, we call it as a single line comment. So to use the single line comment, we should use the // After this // we should use this. We can write a whatever the comments we want, we can write it. And also there is a multiple line comments. So multiple line comments means, for example, if I want to give a complete description about this class, means this complete code. So in one line, I am not able to write a complete statement. It will take at least 4 to 5 lines. So that time what we have to do. So in the // in every line, instead of using every line / like this, first project. So if you want to make a multiple line comments, so always we should give like this. In every line, we should give a double slash. So instead of that, so I just remove these things. So instead of that, what I can do, so I will use one slash and star. So below all the lines, it's becoming like a comment. So, but after only 3 lines I am using, so then again I have to use star and then slash. So now you can able to see. So only these are all in the green color. So it means that these are all the comments. So multi-line comments. So now you can put any number of any number of lines you can put inside this slash star and star slash. So like this, whatever the comments we want, so we can put a multiple comments. So multiple comments usually we used to do like when we want to explain more about that project. So we just give a description. So instead of that, not like any project requirement under, so it's just like explaining about the code. So how it is developed. So what if any new developer comes? So if he just by reading these comments, he has to be understand what you have written the code inside this file. So in that case also we can use the multiple line comments. So this is just for the use of understanding the code. So single line comment and multiple line comments. So now let's go to the Java variables. So variables are nothing but in general, can you explain anybody what is variable? In general English. So for what we call it as a variable.
which varies for different values. So they are not constant.
Yeah. So it means that it will not constant. It can be vary. So for that we call it as a variable. So in this program, so how can we create a variable? So variable means in the program, so we used to store the value into that variable. So once we store that value, it is not a constant. We can keep changing throughout the program. So whenever we want, we can keep changing the values to that. So for that, but computer has to understand that variable. So what we are creating the variable, what is the type of variable. So if the computer wants to understand, we should know the syntax, how we should create the variable. So just let's directly go to the uh, syntax. So for everything there is a syntax. Even if we see the first line, so this is just a syntax to print the string or numbers or whatever, right? So in the same way, when we are creating a variable, so there is a syntax is there. So first we have to mention the type. So type means, so it is the type of the variable. So type of the variable means, so what type of value it is going to store. Okay, so let's see just an example. So what kind of values in generally every day we use. So what type of generally we use any data if we want to say some data, so what type of data it will be. Even in WhatsApp you are just texting a message, right? So that message is what type of data. So that is a set of character, otherwise we can say it as a string. And what else we use? Numbers we use. So when we go to bank or when we are doing any Google Pay or Phone Pay, when we are transferring some amount to someone, so we just enter the numbers. So that numbers is containing like a integer numbers and floating numbers and double. So integer numbers means, so there is no any fraction. So it contains the full number. So I think you in the schooling and everywhere we have studied about the integers and whole numbers, all those things. So the floating numbers means, so there is a after it's not a complete value, there will be a fraction values will be there. So it means we represent with the dot. So for example, my height is 5.7. So after 5 we are using the dot 7. So integer number means it's just a complete number. We can say my age is 30. So that is the integer number. 30 is the integer number. So 5.7 is the floating number. So like that, for each data, we can differentiate the types. So not only that, so even in generally every day we share the images, we share the text files, we share the document files, PPT files. So those are all the type of data. So even image is the type of data, video is also a type of data. So whatever, there should be some type of format to store any information. So information means image and video or integer, strings, character array, everything it will be stored in the computer. Even whatever you are using the mobile, so all those data will be stored in your mobile. So whatever the names you give to save someone's number, so that is just a string you are going to save in your mobile. So like that, when we are doing the coding, we should identify what type of data we are going to store. So in the future, we'll check the data types. What are all the data types is available in Java to create a data, to create a variables. Okay. So first I will just introduce with the integer. So in the data types, in the Java data types. In the next class, we will see complete data types and how it is represents and what all the types of data types are there, how we can store, and each data type, how much size it requires. So size means, so as I said in the first class, in the beginning classes, I said computer can only know binary values, ones and zeros. So 1 byte means, anybody know what is the 1 byte size? How many bits?
8 bits.
Yeah, 1 byte is 8 bits. 8 bit means each bit contains only 1 or 0. Right? So 1 byte is the memory which it can store ones and zeros. So for example, for integer values, so if you want to represent 1, so the value will be 00000001. So like that, there is some representation to convert that by integer to binary. So those are the things will happen inside the computer that we are not required to worry about that, but just we have to understand how the data will be stored in the RAM. So when we are creating the data types, we should be know how much size of that data. So how much, up to how much value we can able to store in that variable type. So the syntax is just first we have to tell the type of that variable, after that variable name. So that is just a initialization, just a declaration. So after that, if you want to initialize some value, we should use the single equal operator. So for each plus, minus, into, equal, so these are all the operators. In the computer language, we call it as an operator. So single equal is the one of the operator. So what it will do, so whatever the right side value will be there, so that will store in the variable, left side variable. So, and one more important thing I should say this. So to end up each line, so we should end up with the semicolon. Even for example, if you don't give semicolon, so we get a error. So I'm just compiling. So then the compiler is saying that colon is expected. So because after the completion of this code, one line, the computer will understand this is one line only when it is end up with the semicolon. So then only it will understand. So this is the one line. Now if I compile, so there is no error. So this is the one of the important. So if you miss the semicolon, it will throw the error. So all the lines should be end up with the semicolon. So now let's create one variable int. So in the next class, I will tell you the complete data types. So I'm just now using the keyword int. So it will just represent integer type of data. So now I am going to give the variable name. So variable name, it is not mandatory like any keyword like that, but for integer, we are just using int. So instead of that int, we can't change anything, even with the capital letter also. So we should represent only in the small int characters. So then only computer will understand I am going to create an integer type of variable. So name we can give, I just give a equals to 10 and I will close that. So now the variable is created, and so when I execute the code, so it's not printing anything. So but what will happen? So it just create a variable a in the RAM and it will exit. So after exiting, it will remove that a. So we are not using, we are just creating the variable and we are assigning some value. So let's just print that variable. So we can't give that variable name in the double quote, because if we give the double quote, so that will consider as a string. So now I am just going to print the variable a. So now it is printing the value 10. So as I said, you line by line, it will execute. In the last line, it will print the variable value a. So now I will just change to 20. So now the value is 20. It is printing the value as a 20. Okay. So even this variable name I just given as an a. So I will just give my name Harsha. So there is no any compilation error. Also, it is printing the output. So there is no any restriction of giving the name for the variable. So you can give whatever you want. You can give the variable name. So, but it should not start with numbers. So if I start with the number, it is throwing the error, not a statement, something like that. So it should only start with the character. At the end or after the character, we can use the we can use the number. Okay, so now without error, so it is just printing the value. So like this, we can create the variables. Also, we can declare the variables like this. So in the next class, we'll see all the type of data types, how we can create, what is the keyword we have to use to represent that type of data type. So everything we will see in the next class. So till here, whatever today I have done, you just practice this. So also I will upload this video to the YouTube. So if you get any confused or if you just can rewatch that video and you can practice that in your own. Okay, any doubts, any questions?